p.m., which means it's start time. Welcome to KS Recruiting Talk. Keith Scott, founder of KS Recruiting Talk and host for tonight's space. Special teams coordinator, DB's coach at Central Arkansas. How did KS Recruiting Talks come about? It started out with sending out daily tweets about the recruiting process and motivational tips. Why? Why was I doing that? So recruits, parents, and high school coaches could see pouring my way from the grass. God moved me into creating a Twitter space, which was a 2-year-old idea in my phone. And I identified with 2 words with KS Recruiting Talks in my Twitter. And the 2 words is consistent and growth. Why do I use the word consistent? I sent out consistent tweets about the recruiting process and motivational things. And the other word is growth. Why do I identify with growth? Because I started out doing Twitter Space in May of 2022, and people wanted to hear more. And my more is KS Recruiting Talk is now on 3 major platforms: YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. It all started with a vision to motivate recruits, parents, and coaches. Now my YouTube is a popular place for recruits, parents, and coaches to come and learn about the recruiting process. It wasn't about what everyone is seeing now, the viral tweets, likes, and retweets. It was about putting out good recruiting content. What's my purpose? To inspire, educate, and motivate recruits, parents, and high school coaches, and even some college coaches that might not have the recruiting game down. This space is for you, so welcome. Rules for tonight's space. First off, this space is totally NCAA compliant. No high school coach or recruit can speak. They cannot send in questions to be read. Guest panel cannot promote a recruit or their high school. My goal is for KS Recruiting Talk to be considered the #1 free recruiting resource for recruits, parents, and high school coaches. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. This is going to be a great space. I think you guys are going to be educated, motivated about the recruiting process. Thank you, guest panel, for your time tonight. I sincerely mean that. Guest coaches, you can consider this as giving back to recruits, parents, and high school coaches. I'll be sharing my platform today with some of the best in the coaching profession. I sent out a text, and all the guest panel agreed to be a part of what we're doing tonight. I'll let our guest panel at this time introduce themselves.
Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Creature Mill. I co-host this with Coach Scott, and I'm the corners coach at Central Arkansas. Let's have a good night.
My name is
Coach Sammy Parker, University of North Alabama, receiver coach and NFL liaison.
My name is Tony Gilbert. I'm the defensive coordinator at Mississippi College. I coach the whole secondary. Happy to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me.
My name is Julian Wilson. I'm the defensive back coach at Abilene Christian.
My name is Brian Baldwin. I'm the special teams coordinator and defensive back coach at Lindenwood. Excited to be here tonight.
All right, sorry about that. We was trying to get Deontay on. Now you can go, Deontay.
My name is Deontay Gibson. I'm the defensive line coach, run game coordinator at Youngstown State University. Excited to chat with everybody today.
Awesome, man. That's our guest panel for tonight. Again, I'm your host, Keith Scott. We'll go ahead and get started, but before we get into our topic, I want to cover some things. Our goal tonight isn't to kill anyone's dream of playing D1 or college football, but to educate you on what you might encounter or did not know about playing D1 or the college recruiting process. Most recruits have a dream of playing D1 football, and the average parent and high school coach want their kids to play D1 football. But most recruits, parents, and coaches do not understand what it takes to play D1 college football. Me and my guest panel will be happy to help guide you tonight through this space and give you some educational things that will help you understand about the D1 recruiting process. So let's do it. Our topic for tonight is what it really takes to play D1 football. And our first topic for tonight is what do D1 recruiters look for during an evaluation of a prospect? And I'll be the first one to start us off right here. And I hit a number of different things, but I only stick with two topics. So the first, what I want to do is just kind of talk about a couple things, which is good academics, high recommendation from your high school coaches, varsity playing experience, elite highlight film, the right body type, and just a high football IQ. But the two bullet points I want to stick with is varsity playing experience and the right body type. Varsity playing experience is a separation factor. When recruiters ask how many years have he been the starter or how many games has he started, I'm not saying it's impossible or difficult to be a one-year starter and still get a full ride D1 scholarship. This is why what we're seeing now in this phase of the recruiting process we are in right now is this day, you're seeing rising juniors and seniors receive early offers. Their freshman and sophomore year, which means they already have 1 to 2 years of film. Coaches want to see your growth. They want to see the growth from year 1 to year 2. And most of these, especially at the bigger levels, they've been with most of these kids you're seeing receiving these bigger offers. They've been with them since their freshman or sophomore year. It wasn't all of a sudden they turned a junior and they started receiving these offers. They've been knowing about these kids for a very long time, and these kids camp with them at an early age. Experience can be a deal breaker because college football is a multi-billion-dollar business. Universities need guys that's been depended upon before at their high school. They don't need guys that's been just 1 year starters. They need guys that have been dependable for their freshman, sophomore, and up through their junior year. The next word I want to stick with is the right body type. The right body type is so key, and measurables is a key factor that frustrates high school coaches and parents. D1 programs cannot afford to gamble on an undersized player because he has heart and he play hard. And I know high school coaches and parents who say, well, I've seen him play since he was little. He played really hard. He got a D1 heart. He plays really, really hard, and he got a big D1 heart. That's not what college coaches want to hear. Because, again, college football is a multi-billion-dollar business. If your competition is playing with elite body types and winning games, you should recruit the same. And at this point, I would turn it back over to Coach Gilbert.
Coach Scott, you basically covered the whole deal, and that is so true of everything. I agree totally with everything that you said, but to me, it goes to this, just like Coach said about the evaluating part. Is it good academically? And one thing of it is okay, does the kid love the game? As he is evaluating his academics and different things like that, how is that kid loving? Does he really love the game? That's a big one. But as Coach said, the next thing is, do that person have that measurable for that position? That's what the Division I looking for. That is the number one thing. And then after that, the thing that possibly can trump that, what type of speed that young man has for that position. And if they have the measurables, or if they kind of maybe a little off on the measurable, but they got the elite speed for that position, then it's a great possibility that kid is going to get recruited Division I. But if he's not having that measurables or not having that speed for that position, it'll be tough.
Appreciate that, Coach Gilbert. Coach Parker.
For me, I would say every school and every scheme is kind of looking for different attributes for different positions. But for me right now, for receiver-wise, I'm looking for dynamic playmakers with good speed and can stretch the field, good short area quickness, ability to create separation at the line of scrimmage and in space at the top of your route, natural catching ability, catch radius, ability to track the ball, hand-eye coordination, good run after catch, willing blocker, able to win one-on-one matchups, route running, and then being able to qualify academically. So a lot of people don't know that you need to have there's 16 core classes that you need to qualify for to be an NCAA qualifier for Division I. There's a 48H form that you guys can find online and talk to your counselors and your academic people as well as your coaches. I think that some of the coaches leave that part of it out. Everybody think they're overlooked, but don't realize academics is the key part of the game. And so with that 48H, to qualify, you need to pass four years of English, 3 years of math, 2 years of some type of science, physical science, natural science, biology, those type of things. And then you have your social sciences, which is like your history and those type of things. And then you have 1 year of an extra, one more year of one of those classes. And then you have to take 4 additional classes that kind of qualify with a following, like your foreign language, or if you take, if you really like history or something like that, or math, you take an extra year of that, something like that, it falls under that category as well. So all the home ec classes and your PE classes and your weight classes, those classes don't qualify for your core 16 class that you need for, to be a qualifier for academically. And then each time you get a grade, it's, for an A, you get 4 points. And then if you have some of your AP classes or your honor classes like that, depending on if your school is registered with the NCAA and qualifies for certain things, sometimes you'll get, you'll get 5 or you'll get 4 or you'll get 3, just depending on that grade letter. So a B, you'll get 3, C, you'll get 2, D, you'll get 1, F, obviously you'll get 0. So you add all those things up at the end, and then you're divided by that 16 and see where you fall at. I think a lot of players, everybody always think they're overlooked, right? But you have to go chase some of these opportunities and get yourself in position to showcase what you can do in front of college coaches. So when there's an opportunity to get out there to perform, you just got to show up and show out. So good luck with that.
Appreciate that, Coach Parker. Inspire, educate, motivate. Let's go, Coach Wilson.
Okay, so I'm currently at Abilene Christian right now. So we're a high private Christian institution. So academics is the biggest thing for us. If your GPA is lower than a 3.0, it's going to be harder for us to take a look at you due to the requirements that it takes to get into our school. So academic is the highest thing for us. And our head coach's philosophy for me personally at corner and other guys, if you're going to miss long and lean. And what I mean by that is, with a 6'2" dude who I'm bringing in potentially as a corner, if he can't play corner, okay, let's try him out at safety. If he's not athletic enough or fast enough to play safety, okay, let's move him down to linebacker. Whereas if I bring in an undersized corner, the only thing he truly can do is play corner. So our head coach's philosophy, if you miss, which you can't miss too often or I won't be on this panel speaking to y'all, but if you miss long and lean.
Love it, man. Love it. If you're on right now, you're getting good information. Like, comment, retweet. Let people know this space is getting started. We want to get as many people involved in this thing as possible. We'll move right into topic number 2. I like where we are right now. Really good job, coaches, in knocking that out, man. Inspire, educate, and motivate. Thank you. I appreciate that. We'll go right into topic number 2. When should a recruit stop being persistent about being a D1 football player and start looking at other lower levels? We'll let Coach Creed start us off right here. It looks like he's trying to get in. Coach Baldwin, go ahead and get us started right here.
Okay. I guess the big thing, just like Keith started out the whole conversation with, is just, I'm not here to be a dream killer for guys. The biggest thing for the young men is to always believe in your dreams, man, and chase your dreams. But at some point in time, the parents and the kids have to come to the realization of how far are we stretching to try to make this dream a reality. Just understanding that sometimes the way that dream you think may have started out might now look a lot different. And you guys have to be okay with that. For example, are you okay with now being a second, a third, or fourth choice for a university, or even a walk-on for that matter? You guys have to weigh in the pros and cons of that decision if you do decide to take those type of opportunities, and then decide if you want to keep pursuing that, or if you want to go the other route and go for a team that's making you a priority, that's really recruiting you on the front end of it. It's just kind of a decision that you guys have to come up with as a family and as a recruit of what direction you want to go with at that point in time.
Man, I appreciate that, BB. Good stuff right there. We'll let Coach Cree go ahead and get us going, and then Coach Gibson, you'll be next.
You know, I think if being a Division I football player is a goal you've had, since a child, and I don't think you ever necessarily just quit pursuing it, but I do think you have to realize that for us as college coaches, there is a filtering process, whether you go D1, D2, D3, whatever it may be. And the process is not just for us, it's for you, it's for your parents, it's for your coaches, for players alike. So it's fair to all of us in our time, and nobody's wasting their time in the pursuit to get you to the right program. So if I'm a class of 24 kid, I think first off, what you have to do is realize what type of exposure you receive. And the process really begins now. It already began in January, but the process begins now. It's just figuring out what junior days I'm going to, getting to these junior days. Then you move on into camp season this summer. What schools am I going to go camp with? You need to camp with either schools at various levels, or you need to find one school or a couple of schools that provide you the exposure to be around staffs of all levels. So you're not just putting yourself in a box, or I only went to Division I camps, I only went to Division II camps. You kind of want to mix it up and get in front of all types of coaching staff so they can get eyes on you and evaluate you, get you some feedback. So once you receive this feedback from the programs, you kind of should know where you stand with those guys, but you also should understand in your mind, being a realist, where you stand too. You went to those camps and you just realize I'm not the same caliber player as some of these guys there, then it may be time for you to look into some lower level colleges, which is nothing wrong with it. D2 football is good. I played D2 football. You won't be the first, you won't be the last. Second, I think what you got to think about is your measurables and your skill sets, because this determines what level you play on as well. Division I programs have certain measurables, skill sets that they're looking for in athletes. And if you don't meet these measurements, at some point you could begin to face rejection from some of these programs unless you're a dude and you're just putting it on tape, then you'd be the exception. But outside of that, guys have specific measurements and specific skill sets they got to go out here and recruit in order to keep their program at a successful level. Now, I say all this to say that it don't really necessarily mean you're going to be a D2 athlete just because you didn't get the offers you wanted when you camped and when you attended these junior days. You could put some stuff on tape that catch the attentions of some of these programs as your senior year progresses. You just got to understand that it's a process and don't lose hope in it. Don't get discouraged. Still go after that offer that you desire. I'm just speaking on the initial phase of the process.
Inspire, educate, motivate. If you're on right now, you're getting good information, like, comment, retweet, go subscribe to KS Recruiting Talk on YouTube. If you're a college coach and you're listening right now, you're interested in being featured on KS Recruiting Talk, shoot me a DM, text. Let's talk and see, can we get this thing, make this thing happen. We'll go into Coach Gibson.
Yeah, I think a lot of things been echoed. Well said. I think the biggest thing when I talk to guys early on in their process is, everyone, ideally wants to go D1, play on national TV, do all the illustrious things. But I think the bottom line, before you approach this thing at playing at the next level, is what do you want to get out of it? Are you a guy that thinks in the end? Let's talk about the guy that wants to go to the NFL. Let's talk about the guy that wants to make sure that they're providing themselves with the opportunity to get an education at the lowest cost possible, hopefully zero. Let's talk about a guy that just wants to continue to play football as long as they can, depending on what the level is. So I think as you kind of navigate the space of figuring out what exactly you want your recruiting process to look like, and if you go down the route of, I want to be a D1 guy, pursue that route. Pursue it in all facets. Like the guys have echoed before, you want to diversify which camps you go to. You want body to be at the camps that, one, coaches have had real conversations with you, and two, you might want to go to some of those mega camps where there's going to be the maximum amount of exposure. I don't think, unless you're rolling out about 30-some offers out the gate really fast. And even to those guys, I always say, you never close any door. And you want to make sure that you're, you know what I'm saying, you stay current with people and you go to places where you seemingly are being recruited. So then as you kind of matriculate into the rest of your process, once you realize that, hey, I've gone to these camps, I've done these things, I know what I think I am, and I know what I am. Those are two different things when you really look at it. You got to figure out who's still in the fight with you, and I think that's where you lay at. And then in the end, some guys that I've been along this process, coaching at FCS, coaching at FBS, through my years, is some guys just have their mind set on, I want to go to this school because it's my dream school, and I don't think anything's wrong with that if that's what you ultimately want to do. But I always say, man, it's really hard to go through tour-days, workouts, and everything and turn down money. So if the money's really good at whatever level it is, and the people do right by you, and you feel like it's going to be a place of growth and opportunity for you to grow not only as a player but as a young man, then I'm all for you taking those opportunities. But then some guys, ultimately, they want to bet on themselves and take the D1 route, and it may come at their own cost. That's okay too. But I think in the end, before you approach any recruiting experience or any college experience from any capacity, you got to really sit down with yourself, with your parents, and any trusted people in your life, and try to figure out, hey, what do I want out of this experience? And then that'll kind of navigate your whole recruiting process.
Thank you, Coach Gibson. Man, I appreciate that. A lot of good information right there. I appreciate you guys jumping on Inspire, Educate, and Motivate. I would take us home with topic number 2, be interested in who's interested in you. Valentine's Day just passed. If a girl blew a kiss at you, you blow the kiss back. Just no different than in school, right? If a school like you, you like them. It matters what phase the recruiting process is in at also. So what I mean by that, right now, what phase are we in right now for 2024s? If you're getting a lot of D2 to D3 action right now, in this phase we're in right now, very present, 2024s, but you have slow D1 attention, do not panic. You have time. I also think you should still continue to reach out to D1 coaches. And here's my tip to you guys is play both sides. If you're getting D3 to D2 action, man, be wearing those D1 coaches out because you know you have the D2 and the D3 coaches. And the reason why I say both sides is because simply, you have time. You have time, man. This is a long process for you. So this is the time you put in the time and wear those coaches out. I think the recruiting start point and cutoff point to stop reaching out to D1 coaches is your start point is January through December. I think the end of November, early December is your cutoff point to say, hey, well, this D1 dream may not happen. Why do I say January? Is because that's the starting phase. That's the process once it begins. Okay, for upcoming seniors, that's the start. By the end of the signing period, which is the month of December, most D1 rosters are finalized. They have who they want. They have who they got. So at this point, you might want to start thinking D1 is a long shot for you. So that concludes topic number 2. Reminder: you can catch tonight's recruiting talk on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. I have it up within the next 24 hours. We'll move right on into the midpoint of this phase, and that is topic number 3. Give a layout of what one day of demanding college football looks like at your university. And I'll let Coach Gilbert get us started right here.
Well, one day at Division II at Mississippi College can start off like this. Early morning workouts start at 5:45, and that's based around your class. We have 3 lifting times. You got 5:45, you got 12 o'clock, and you got 2 o'clock. So if your class kind of, you might have a class around 12 o'clock, or you might have a class around 2, where you got to get your butt up at doggone 5:45. So you got to get up in the morning and lift and work out. Then after you lift and work out, all freshmen and all guys that are below a 2.5 have study hall. And the study hall is based around your class schedule. So, and we'll usually try to do study hall around about, 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, something like that, so we don't have night study hall, so you got the time to yourself. Then after you do that, of course, you still, like I said, you got your weights and, different things like that. Then you got meetings. Then you have meetings with your coach to get ready for, the game plan, for getting ready for practice or whatnot. And you have meetings before you go out on the field, and then you go out on the field, and then you practice, and then it's a possibility you could have a meeting after dinner. So your day is pretty, and all that, you're going to class and you are studying. And so it's pretty for incoming freshmen coming in. It's real tough. Even in Division II, it's tough to get on the field because sometimes kids can't handle all that and stuff. And so that's basically how we start our day.
Inspire, educate, motivate. Let's go into Coach Wilson.
Okay, so our players they have the option to work out from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. depending on your class schedule. So in between that time, you have mandatory breakfast between 6 to 7:30. So it's mandatory. One of our strength coaches will be in there checking the breakfast. So from 7 to 11, you'll have class. Since we're at a Christian school, we have what we call mandatory chapel. So to pass at our school, you have to get a certain amount of chapel credits. And it's every day at 11 o'clock. So maybe if you go Monday, Wednesday, Friday to get your credits, that's when you got to go. After that chapel, you'll have class up until 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, you'll come in, have the position meetings for about an hour, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. We're on the field by 3:30, getting off the practice field around 6:15, and all of our freshmen have to go to study hall after that. So from 7 to 9, you're in study hall, and you got to wake up and do that every day. So what a lot of kids don't understand is college football is a job. Like, you can't do everything that typical regular students can do. You're responsible for football, you're responsible for your schoolwork, academics, and there's certain things as a college athlete you're just not able to do that other people are.
Wow, appreciate that, Coach Wilson, man. Inspire, educate, motivate. All right, let's go, Coach Parker.
For us right now, so we're in off season right now. So a day for our guys. I'll give you an example. For yesterday, our guys, we started with weights in the morning at 6 a.m. And that was roughly about 45 minutes. And after that, most of our players are showered up, had breakfast, then they had classes, and then in between classes, they got to get lunch, obviously. And we do class checks as well. So between the regular coaches and our GAs and those guys, we'll check classes to make sure our guys are attending school. Because obviously, being up early in the morning, there's no telling what the night had in store for them, or it might have been a rough workout and they just want to sleep in. We'll make sure we check classes. We want to have our guys sitting in the first 3-4 rows of the class, just to make sure they're being attentive and connecting with the teachers and things like that. And then after that, we had our guys get back for mat drills at the facility. It started at 3 o'clock. We had them on the field, so roughly they had to be there before 3 o'clock because it starts at 3. So being on the field roughly around 2:50, 2:55, mat drills, and then that kind of rolled over into OTA. So what our mat drills was a series of different drills, different movements and stuff like that, just to kind of see how those guys move around in space, different things, change of direction, all that different stuff. And then we got into OTAs, more football type activities. When we were doing individual, and then we kind of went through just like a couple new concepts and things like that, because most of us here right now, we're all new. So we're implementing the stuff that we're looking to, make flourish in the season. And then once that was over, our guys showered up again and then got ready for study hall and things like that. I think the biggest thing that I would, kind of push off is time management is key. People don't understand that football is 24/7 when you get to the next level. In high school, you just do the one sport or whatever it is. You show up and do things as you want. Here, it's a mandatory thing. Being at class, being a student athlete, student first, athlete second. But make sure you take care of business in the classroom as well you do on the field. And we're just trying to push the envelope to get better.
Great job right there, Coach Parker. Inspire, educate, motivate. All right, let's jump right into Coach Creed.
So for our guys, we're up pretty early each morning, so they'll start their day about 5 a.m. They'll get up, put on their clothes, get dressed, put some light on their stomach, then they'll head over to our indoor for what we call purple duns. All that is, like Coach just explained, our mat drills, 6 or 7 stations, straight getting after it, putting in work. After that, we finish around 7 a.m., give or take. Then they hop in the shower, get changed, and they head over to our nutrition center. They try and grab something to get in their body before class. If they have time or they don't have an 8 a.m., they always head over to the CAF and try and put some food in their body so they're up. Got a little nutrition in them, and they're just ready for the day. From about 8 a.m. to noon, our guys are kind of just bouncing from class to class, depending on how your schedule is set up for that semester. You bounce from class to class, as well as getting your mandatory guided study hall in. For us, that's just 4 hours a week, mandatory, at the advising center with some type of tutor or athletic advisor that can kind of help you with class, help you plan out that day and just set your footsteps in the right direction. And that's mandatory. They get 4 hours a week. So Monday through Thursday is usually when guys complete that. Friday, you like to have it done. If you're not done, they have time Friday afternoon to get those hours in so they can get to the 4 required for the week. Around noon, the majority of our guys are done with class. They'll finish up and try and get over to the CAF or our student center and get some food in their body because there's a lot of other opportunities to get work in throughout the day. So 1:30 for us specifically, the DB position group, we get our afternoon lift. We have other lift times, 2:30, 3:30, depending on what position you play, or if your class schedule don't allow you, you can slip into those time frames as well. But they get their lift in, and then after lift, we have a little time, 30 to 45 minutes, give or take. You can get some position work in, some individual drills, or you can use that time to go in the meeting room and bust through some clips, maybe get a little install in. That's just kind of how we handling it. Then after that, you let your guys go because there's a lot more for them as far as being a student athlete. They got to get done. You want to let them get their mind right, recharge their bodies, go get started on some of their homework so they can get assignments turned in. Then obviously they're still student athletes, 18 to 22-year-olds. There's a social aspect to it. So you want to allot them a little time to go actually be people, enjoy the campus atmosphere as well. So that's what a pretty good day consists of at Central Arkansas.
Wow. Great job, coaches, man. Great job of inspiring, educating, and motivating recruits, parents, and high school coaches. These coaches absolutely killed this topic. I appreciate you guys. As you can see, there's a lot that goes on at a number of different universities. A lot of schools do things a lot different. That's why this topic was on there, because I wanted to give you an opportunity just to hear, man, it's one thing to tweet about being D1. It's another thing to actually be Division I or to be a college football player, to see how it operates and see if you really want to do this. The other thing is, plus what it really takes every day, man. Every coach that spoke talked about being up at least at the lowest 6:30 a.m. So no matter what program you go to, you're going to be up early. And that's just a requirement, and that's what it takes. So this is why I wanted to talk on this topic, because let's clear the air about playing D1 football, and let's let guys know what it really takes. Let's let parents know what it really takes, and high school coaches, because we want to be able to say now, okay, I have an idea of what this thing looked like. So what we'll do right here is, that's topic number 3. It's complete. It's done. Absolutely great job right there by those 4 coaches right there. What we would do is jump right into topic number 4. Is a non-star ranked recruit shooting too high by wanting to play Division I football? And I'll let Coach Baldwin start us off right here. BB?
Yeah, here we go. Can you hear me? All right.
Yep.
Absolutely not. Starting out, I think that the stars is basically exposure, being out places, being seen, college coaches coming through schools and getting an opportunity to talk to you and see you and evaluate you. To me, it's just an exposure deal. I think Coach Parker kind of hit on it earlier. It's really just taking advantage of the opportunities of getting in front of as many Division I college coaches to be seen as possible. For us as college coaches, we're humans just like everybody else. And the biggest thing with us is seeing is believing. We can hear about a guy, we can watch a guy on film. You can tell us how great a kid is. A parent can tell us how phenomenal their son is. But at the same time, when the coach see them and get an opportunity to be around that kid and get to know that kid, seeing and being able to build a relationship really solidifies it for us to really want to be recruiting that type of guy. A couple ways of getting out and getting that type of exposure is mega camps. I can't remember, one of the coaches on the panel brought that up earlier. A great opportunity for you to get into in front of a maximum amount of coaches on all different levels to really know kind of where you're getting evaluated at. If you're getting talked to by D1 coaches, you might be a D1 guy. If only the D2 guys are talking to you at those camps, you might need to realize you might be a D2 guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Other avenues to get out in front of coaches is, somebody brought that one up too, is junior days. Those are opportunities to get in front of coaches and build those relationships and have more one-on-one opportunities to kind of really evaluate programs and them to really evaluate you as a recruit and also as a family to see if it's the best fit for you guys. And then the last opportunity that I had is coaches do have individual camps where now you specifically are picking that type of school, saying that this is the school that I want to be at, and those coaches now can narrow it down where mega camps is a lot of kids and a lot of prospects to be evaluating. Now you kind of dwindling down that number a little bit where they can really focus on you and you get an opportunity to really get evaluated at that level with that program.
Great job right there, BB. Appreciate your time, man. If you're a recruit, parent, or high school coach, and KS Recruiting Talk has been helpful for you, please share KS Recruiting Talk with other recruits, parents, and coaches. I appreciate that. Let's go, Coach Gibson.
Yeah, so I like to, when I talk to recruits, families, coaches, and everybody, I like to be very honest and blunt about the stars. Let's just talk from a player perspective. The stars, the more you have, and I honestly, it garners more attention to you from probably a projection of what you can be and what you potentially should be at the college level, collegiate level, potentially leading off into a professional aspect. When in regards to playing in all-star games, the All-American games, it'll garner you that kind of praise and attention, which is always positive. From a coaching perspective, the more stars and high-ranking recruits you have, the more admiration and accolades you get for being a quote-unquote great recruiter. And guys, you'll see those guys present different opportunities for them as well professionally. So the easy way out is to be very attracted to guys that have a bunch of stars and seemingly have a bunch of attention from a lot of recruits, from a lot of universities, and having multiple opportunities, because again, if you are the coach on that other end that beat the other schools out, you look like a guy that can, really recruit your butt off. But let's be real here. If you look at the tape and put some tape on and get the chance to really evaluate and see how guys play, a lot of times it's the guys that don't have all of these stars that really help build your program and help sustain your program. It's not to say that we're just turning down 5-star and 4-star recruits, but it's also to say from a guy that doesn't have any stars or may be low on the caliber from an accolades perspective, that doesn't disqualify you from being recruited. I think it's, again, you got to be able to put your tape out as much as possible, be able to push out the coaches, and then kind of cater your recruiting based on how people are responding to it. And then at the end of the day, if you believe in who you are, what you do, you go to the appropriate camps. Perfectly, I would say if you're a no-star recruit, you need to hit some of those mega camps and some of your local camps to get that kind of exposure. But you're never out of the fight. At the end of the day, program sustainability and foundation are built on the backs of guys that may not be well received early on. Because at the end of the day, some of you guys, some of you high school guys are listening, some coaches, everybody that's been a part of this thing realize that I've been a part of guys that have been 5'9" in ninth grade and grew up to be 6'3" by the time they were sophomore in college and changed positions. So you can't really project with the development aspect and what the weight room will do when guys grow up, how that works out. The best thing you can do is evaluate who the person is as a person, how they're raised, how they work, and then how their attributes attribute, or how those you believe will transition to the next level. I mean, being caught up in the stars will really fool you a little bit. I mean, you want to go after what is perceived as the best, but at the end of the day, you got to do what's good for your program and help win games.
Inspire, educate, motivate. Good job right there, Coach Gibson. I tell you, man, this guest panel of coaches have been on point. You guys are killing it right now. If you're on and you're getting good information, like, comment, retweet, go subscribe to KS Recruiting Talk on YouTube. We'll let Coach Cree jump us off right here.
Hey, like Coach was just alluding to, stars are based on potential. So no, an athlete does not have to have stars to, be going after a Division I offer, a Division I program. You also got to understand when you say Division I, it's not just talking about FBS. There's also an FCS level like us at Central Arkansas. And we're always looking for guys. If you put it on tape, that's it. We'll come find you. If you're putting it on tape, we'll come find you and get you to come when you start to build those relationships like Coach alluded to, because that's important as well. But just understand that, no, I don't have to have the stars attached to my name. No, I don't have to be this highly touted recruit in order for me to play Division I football. If you can put it on, if you can play, you put it on tape. We'll come find you, and you'll have your opportunity to play at this level. That's all I have, Coach.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Inspire, educate, motivate. If you're a college coach and you're interested in being featured on KS Recruiting Talks, shoot me a DM, shoot me a text. If you're a recruit, parent, or high school coach, and KS Recruiting Talks has been helpful for you, please share KS Recruiting Talk with other recruits, parents, and coaches. All right, Coach Gilbert.
Well, I tell you, everybody's answer's been so good, and got me coming in. I'm last, and I ain't got much to say on that. But the thing of it is no, you got to keep your dream alive. But the thing that you must get out there and do is like what everybody, you got to get out there and you have to dominate the game, period. And in order for you to dominate the game, you got to love the game. So it does not matter, where you start is where you end up. Because you don't have all those stars or whatnot, that doesn't mean anything. The biggest thing that you have to do is get out there and dominate the game and play the best that you can play. And that's it. And the rest will take care of itself. But, you still have to go. You have to be real and understand about, you got to have your measurables and you got to have that speed. I know we keep coming back and forth to that, but, that you'll be fine.
Thank you right there, Coach Gilbert. Man, inspire, educate, motivate. Appreciate you guys chiming in on topic number 4. It's complete. It's done. Man, we're on the back end of this thing. We're almost done for our hour here. We are on topic number 5. Do D1 coaches use social media to find recruits? Any tips on how I can use social media to get D1 coaches' attention via social media? Well, I would get us started out right here. Yes, D1 programs use social media to find recruits. Everyone that's associated with a college football program has a smartphone in today's time. Twitter and college football is like yin and yang. They have become two of the same. You can't get past Twitter and college football now because so many coaches are using the platform and so many prospects. And when I say prospects, highly recruited prospects. And wherever highly recruited prospects are, guess what? College coaches are going to be. Twitter and college football continue to influence each other. So as Twitter and college football continue to influence each other, they're going to continue to be around each other. A couple of tips I have for you guys is recruiting is very competitive, which means you have to send one more DM to stay on top of a coach's DM. You never know when that one more DM is when coaches is just chilling and relaxing. And then, oh man, he sees your DM and then he starts to reply. It happens all the time. It happens for me. If it happens for me, I know it happens for other coaches. If coaches are posting, that means they're checking their post to see how many likes they're getting and who's liking it. So what high school coaches and recruits and parents don't understand, college coaches are normal people. They do what normal people do. So if they post something, they're going to check it. So if you see a coach is posting something, You just got to stay one more direct message on top of the next recruit. I think that's the competitive part of the college recruiting process. If you see a new post, send a DM, because that coach is not active on Twitter at that time. I think that's a great time to see if you can get his attention, see if you can send that one more DM to stay ahead of the game right there. Set alerts to know when a coach may tweet. I think every coach may retweet their program things they're doing in their program, or some coaches, once you start getting into the spring recruiting, coaches are going to be posting on private jets. They're going to be posting in airports. They're going to be posting all types of things where they're moving around to at different high schools. That's a time for an engagement. This is another tip I think that works pretty good, because our players do it to me, so I share it with you guys. If you know players on D1 rosters, and you know that they have a relationship with that coach, have them to reach out to those coaches on that coaching staff and have them to check their DMs that you've been sending them. And now that coach is more likely to reply back to you, because that player came into his office and said, hey, my teammate or my high school teammate or my JUCO teammate wants you to check him out. He's been sending you a DM. That's a great way to kind of get things started right there. And then I would end, and then I'll let Coach Baldwin go.
That was really good, Keith. I've had that happen as well. Guys will come in and tell me about their teammates or guys that they know that I need to check out their film. So that is really good. Just piggybacking off what you said, college coaches very much so use social media. I know some programs that majority of their recruiting is basically social media. So being able to reach out to coaches and being able to connect with those guys over social media is huge. The one thing I will say is, we get so much stuff sent to us daily. The percentage of cold call recruiting, being a D1 type of caliber guy is pretty fairly low. Not to say that doesn't ever happen, where a guy just a diamond in the rough that hits you up out of the blue and just becomes a guy. It's just very low that happens. Some of the tips that I would say for profiles for you guys is really big is just being easily identifiable. A lot of times when you're using social media to go and do a little bit of research on a recruit, if they're using nicknames and all slang type names for their username and it's hard to find those guys, well, now you're kind of taking yourself out of that hat for me to be able to evaluate you, because it's so hard to find you. The second thing that I'll talk about is just having updated film on there as well. A lot of times guys will start their profiles and they won't keep it up to date. They'll have their freshman film on there or junior film, younger film. Try to keep your film as much as up to date as possible. And then the other thing for me personally, because a lot of guys in high school are out of position and playing positions that they might not play in college, for me, it's really good to evaluate those guys and actually be able to see those guys move around with the other specific type of position that they're looking for college coaches are recruiting those guys as. So being able to see a guy doing some training videos where they're doing, for me in particular, some type of DB drills and moving around where I can actually see him as a DB. Although for his high school team, he might be the quarterback and they don't play him at the DB. For me, it helps evaluate that kid a little bit more when I'm able to see those videos of him training and moving around. The last one, because I don't want to take all the answers for everybody, is just professionalism. Understanding that your profile is basically going to be evaluated to the T from what you post and what you retweeting. The biggest note that I can say for you guys is, it's a time and place for everything. And if you're trying to get a Division I offer or Division I, be with a Division I program, you need to be conscious of the things that you post and what you put on your profiles.
Inspire, educate, motivate. All right, let's go with Coach Gibson.
Yeah, I think a lot of good things have been said so far in regards to social media. From a usage standpoint, I try to dedicate at least the first 20 minutes or so when I walk into the office, just from trying to go through the DMs from the previous day to try to catch up, just to scour through as much as possible. I'll tell guys, I don't get offended by it. I respect the game. I'm not asking for a personalized message, but just be really clear when you're sending mass messages to a bunch of coaches. One, don't ever put a bunch of coaches in the same group when you're sending a message. Two, don't necessarily tweak the message, but don't make it seem like you sent this to somebody else as badly. Like unfortunately, there's been times where I've been called the wrong name. So if you're going to send the same message, at least change the coach's name in the DM to help yourself out. The other thing that I think that I try to do as much as possible is here at Youngstown State, we recruit, the border states, and then we have our own some areas that we've had previously. So for me, I've recruited other states that may not necessarily be a primary area, but because I have contacts and close connections there, they've done a great job. So that some of your trainers or just high school coaches doing a great job sharing current with your tape and retweeting it helped me sign one of my signees this past class, which wasn't necessarily a part of our area, but it was a mutual connection via social media. So it is that one time, the diamond in the rough, that did kind of work out. From a way to help you guys kind of garner the right attention, Coach alluded to it, Coach Baldwin alluded to it perfectly, just about making sure that the professionalism on your Twitter is important. Also from a marketing perspective, because this is essentially what you guys are doing, is you want to limit the amount of clicks a coach has to do to get to your tape, and limit the amount of clicks that it takes for a coach to actually get to any receivable information that you want them to evaluate. So, for instance, when you do link your huddle tape to your Twitter profile, the link should go directly to the most updated tape that you have. So we shouldn't have to click through, go through your huddle, click most recent videos, then click to the video that we need to see. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily discourage me, but I think it's important to always limit the amount of time somebody has to take to, when you grab their attention, you want to keep it as quick as possible. The last thing that I'll say is, in regards to your name, make sure you're searchable. And the biggest thing is one of my really good friends in this industry. He always says this: you should always have on hand your most recent transcript, because a lot of times, man, there's some really talented guys that just simply won't be able to make it from an academic perspective. And in order for you to get that leg up, and you got a college coach's ear, you want to have readily available information. And that's not saying you need to post your a link to your transcript, but when asked upon, you should be able to submit that pretty easily. So be readily available on any information that's kind of asked of you. But yeah, that's what I got there.
Once again, great job right there, Coach Gibson. Remember, you can catch tonight's space on KS Recruiting Talks on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify within the next 24 hours. If you're on and you get good information, like, comment, retweet, go subscribe to KS Recruiting Talk on YouTube. Appreciate you guys listening in. We got one more guy, man. You can take us home right here, Coach Wilson. Step up, baby. Let's go.
Man, you done put me on a tough spot. Everybody done dropped all the hidden gems. First thing I would say, really, like along the lines of being easily accessible, in your bio, you should at least have if your name is different, have your high school, have your GPA, and like they're saying, have your huddle link. Because what a lot of y'all don't understand is when we're going into a staff meeting and you finally get the head coach to sit down and watch recruits, he don't want to have to sit around and wait 30, 45 seconds to find your tape. It needs to be one click and it's there and it's updated and it's the new film. And a lot of things that I've been noticing that a lot of people run into is the 6-game huddle or the mid-season huddle or the final season huddle. Whatever you feel is your best film, put that on a highlight tape and alert it in some way that this is the must-watch one. Like, this is the one that everybody needs to see, because that's what we really need to do. So the tips for social media, everybody already hit them, is keep sending those DMs, keep tagging people, keep getting out and trying to get yourself exposed, because you're marketing yourself. The last thing I would say, because I've seen it hurt a recruit, is I understand and we know probably most of these coaches on this panel listen to rap music, but do not put unedited music on your highlight tapes and have every single word be a cuss word. Like, the highlight tape is for you to showcase your film, not let us to know your music preference. And that's all I got.
Great job right there, Coach Wilson. Well, that concludes tonight. It was an honor to spend 1 hour with these coaches and this guest panel tonight, man. You guys did an unbelievable job. I've been able to really quickly go through some of the comments. So many parents, high school coaches, and recruits was inspired. They appreciate you guys' time, man. Thank you guys so much for jumping on and talking about this topic that we had tonight. I think we helped a lot of people, and that's what it's all about. Well, it's a wrap for us with KS Recruiting Talk for the night. Again, thank you, guest panel, for a lot of great information tonight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to KS Recruiting Talks tonight. Man, we're right under an hour, which is great. Get you guys back with your families, man. Y'all have a great night. I appreciate everyone jumping on. Thank you.